Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we've got a 10 times chance to pull nukers. Absolute freaking beasts coming up from tomorrow. I think it also is going to fall in line with the new fragment champion. We're not seeing that much about him, but feels like he's coming. We're going to get into that in just a second, but I just want to have a second to appreciate what Raid have done. It's not gone the full kind of mile that I wanted it to go, but I tell you now, Super Raids in Faction Wars with multi-battles. Yes, please. Hit go. Instead of 9 battles, I'm seeing 4. They've allowed us to overfill our keys. So you do your tag team arena first, get those 6 extra keys. Then you come and do your Faction Wars. And it has just saved us a fair chunk of time, which is what I'm all about at the minute. Like, saving us some of that time is a really cool thing. So thank you, Blarium, for this one. Something else, just as a watch out from yesterday's patch. So I've got this Fire Knight 25 team that I've been running for a long time. We can now change the AI in between rounds, yeah? But what has happened, where they've put in this new feature, round 1, round 2, round 3 at the bottom, basically anything which I'd set people to do, like this, is being mirrored round 1, round 2, and round 3. What that means is, you might have a setup a bit like what I've got here, where they might end up just doing the wrong thing. Okay, like this A1, I don't want that to happen on round 2 or round 3 for my Renegade to make this comp work. It will actually throw your teams out. So if you've got anything like that, it's going to give us more versatility and it's way better. But the way they've copied it across is going to be a bit weird for you. Continue, cancel, save that. The other thing, I've get quite a lot of messages about this, so I just thought I'd throw it in. Clan Boss is only ever 1 round, okay? Every time you get another turn doesn't make it an extra round. So if you've got team setup stuff going on in your Clan Boss stuff, I don't know if I've got any to show you, but if you're trying to set round 1, A1, round 2, A1, like because you want to set up something like a man-eater type comp, that's not going to work. There's only ever 1 round in Clan Boss. And then you just go in. Yeah, same with the arena. It's 1 round. So just bear that in mind when you're doing your team setup stuff. Okay then, let's talk times 10 champions. I've got to say, this is a freaking crazy times 10. It's a crazy times 10, especially considering most people are going to be doing shard pulls for the fragment event if they want to. Okay, so I'd say the first 2 don't really fit this group for me. I don't really get why they're in the group unless I haven't understood the group. But first one up, Husky is a beast. He's pretty damn solid for Hydra smacking, Spider smacking, anything with high HP smacking, because he's got an AoE enemy max HP skill. So it's one of the better damage dealing skills for late game, especially for Hydra actually, where you're trying to get some of that enemy max HP gorgeous smacks. Also got a good chance to place a stun on this ability. It's kind of all about this ability, honestly. Like the rest of his kit is pretty average. He's got a provoke here, which can be kind of clutch, I guess, in Faction Wars. I guess you could use him against Magma Dragon for this. And he's got quite a hard hitting A3, but it doesn't do anything more. Compare it to his A2, and it's a nothing ability. So all in all, Husky is solid, pretty underrated, but maybe a little bit overshadowed by, you know, like the Royal Guards of this world. But Husky is a solid champion. So next one, I don't know if she really fits this group of champions. Again, unless I'm not really understanding what they're all about. But Alicia, awesome champion, awesome tattoo work, awesome booty, as Ivy Lee would say. But yeah, cool champion. So she's one of the few champions in the game which can place an AoE drop defense without needing to be booked to do it. And that's really important. So just straight up will do it if you've got accuracy. There's only about another 2 in the game, including all legendaries that can do this. So that's very cool on her A3. She's got an AoE on her A2 as well. So double AoEs. Is that the... No, that's not the theme. Increases duration of all debuffs on all enemies by a turn. Pretty solid as well. And then a debuff spread on her A1 if there are enemies under Hex. And she gets a chance to put Hex out there as well. So, you know, the Hex thing is kind of nothing. But this AoE drop defense is really nice for this faction. and the A2 is nice as well. The next champion is where we start getting juicy. So we've got one of the strongest epics. This is the Void in the game, I'd say, for arena play. So Gembo the Dishonored kind of deals with the swift parries, the Leos, the Skull Crowns, anyone who wants to throw an unkillable out there. Gembo runs in there and slices people up with these cool swords. Yeah, good champion. How does he do that? Well, he's got let's go through that first. So he's got a passive here, immune to decrease attack, will ignore unkillable buffs while attacking under increased attack. He gives himself some buffs on his A3, increased crit rate and crit damage, so you can actually bring his crit rate down to 70 and get an absolute smack off of this. Gets an extra turn after he does it, so he goes straight into his A2 once he's done it. 100% if you've got him booked of decreasing a buff by a turn. Cannot be resisted if he crits. If you're not building him with crit, you're not building him right. And his A1 here, double hitter, can steal any increased attack buffs as well. The increased attack buff still cannot be resisted, so you don't need accuracy for this. This is pretty solid against, like a Duchess or something like that. But generally, he's got enough power to take down most arena defenses. So Gembo as a Void, actually really strong. Then the last of the epics, probably should have done it in the other order, but there you go. We have got Magnar on the list. Magnar, widely known as the best HP-based champion for damage. He's not the hardest hitter, by the way. He nigh on is, but he's not far off it. He's in a similar kind of realm to a Versolf, and slightly better than a Sir Nick. Think about those, like big legendary champions. He's better, and he's much easier to build and much easier to set up. So all of his damage comes from his A2. It's an AoE hit. As long as there's no burns out there, he just goes again, smacks again. And that's where his phenomenal damage comes from, the double hit, not the single. If there is a burn out there, though, he does have a chance to throw a stun out. Can put a drop defense out with his A1. He's got a debuff spread. He'll only spread to enemies that have got a burn out there. So you either play him with a burn champion and he does a whole bunch of different stuff, or without a burn champion and he smacks people into the ground. It's quite cool. His passive's not bad as well. Gives him some healing if there is burns going on. Yeah, solid epic. One of the better arena epic champions for smacking. Yeah, just for absolutely nuking. Also, because he's an HP-based champion with a decent HP pool, he's pretty easy to build to keep alive. And the way you build him to keep alive is also how you build him to do high damage. So Magnar is super good. Let's move on then to the legendaries. Champion I don't have on my main first. Was in the list of people that I said could farm Nightmare Campaign if you were trying to push like I am in this Krisk event or whatever event you're doing. But Biggin, just like AoE smacks. So he's got attacks an enemy and then an AoE on his first skill here. It will attack with the second AoE if you crit. Again, if you're not building him for crit, you're not building him right. An AoE on his second with a chance to stun, also decrease accuracy. And then another AoE with a double hitter on his third skill, decreasing turn meter and putting decreased speed. This guy is like a control freak. Stunnage, decreased speed, decreased turn meter whilst doing AoEs. Throw him in some stun gear or something like that, and he is an absolute menace to deal with. So big and actually good. Hard hitter as well. Cool champ. Now let's get to the meta. This is the meta champions coming in. So first one in the meta, well in the meta as well, this guy. Probably even more so since they've put out Stone Skin and all this kind of shenanigans. So Candy, Candrathon. They reworked Candy. Didn't used to be good. They reworked him into beast mode, into godlike mode. And I love it. He's got one of the hardest hitting A1s in the game. And it's a single target. It's a double slap if anyone's got a buff. Yes, he comes in there, slap, slap, down they go. Absolute carnage to anyone he hits. Should be killing pretty much anyone he hits with this. What's cool with that is, if someone like Warlord wipes out all his abilities, it's like, no worries, I'm coming at you with my A1s. You're sitting down anyway. His A2 then, AoE hit, big smack, and gets an extra turn and a reset of On the Hunt, which we don't really use. if he kills someone. So he smacks, they're dead, and then you know what? You just come in on your extra turn with your A1, slap anyone that's still up. It's really cool. So his A3 is actually good, but you almost want the extra turn to come here. So place all my buffs, then I want an extra turn. Because as it is at the moment, he kills someone with his A2. His default is then to say, you know what, now I'm going to buff myself. He buffs himself and then sits there and waits to be killed like a fool. So actually, you probably want to, if you're playing him Arena, just turn the A3 off in the AI settings and just be running A1 and A2. Have someone else buff his attack. He's also got this cool passive. This is one of the best things about his rework. Basically, any time, so look, watch active effect, places a perfect veil on this champion for a turn. Each time an enemy's turn meter is filled. This buff cannot be removed. This is awesome because once he's got perfect veil up, his damage goes up by 40%. The damage he receives is reduced by 40%. And he gets a bit of a turn meter fill as well. Super cool. Very, very cool passive. Got a nice aura as well for the arena. This guy is an arena god. That's the first of the meta champions. Let's go on to the second. And even like Wales Krakens are going to be pulling shards for this lovely lady, even if they own her. Yeah, go and talk to Boomer about his +4 Trundas that basically one-shot Hydra and leave the Hydra boss crying in its milk in the side of the room, wondering how it can beat every single other person up apart from Boomer. Trunda is bonkers. I was actually showing on stream yesterday the damage of Cleopteryx and Yakal, like their new numbers. In fact, let me show you. So this little spreadsheet here is just kind of showing some of the meta champions, their damage, and I was comparing it to Cleopteryx and Yakal and Samar. So they're new multipliers in the mix. And in this column here, it just kind of looks at how well are they doing in the arena scene. Yeah. And yeah, we're kind of looking at, well, Cleopteryx is now in the mix of like an ethos type of level of damage. So Cleopteryx has had a decent buff. Yakal, just below that type of level of damage. And has to deal with freezes and stuff. I did do some playtesting on stream last night. He's solid, but he's not crazy. Mainly because of the freeze mechanics. He almost needs to ignore the damage reduction of freeze to make him really top tier. But they've definitely given him a good rework. But yeah, and Samar is just still trash by the looks of this. But you look at Trunda versus the other meta champions is almost like 30% more powerful in her damage. Just let that sink in for a second. The best versus like second best is almost 30% more damage. It's so crazy. Anyway, so Trunda is up for grabs, and if anyone's gonna +2, +3, +4 anyone, it's gonna be a Trunda because she is an absolute freaking beast. The other thing which is nuts about her, not just her damage, she's got a higher base HP than most HP base champions. That's actually nutty because it means that she's way easier to keep alive than most of the other meta arena champions. You take a Foley, you take an Ethos, they're way harder to keep alive than a Trunda. The only person that comes close is a Candy, and that's why he sits in a lot of arena defenses. So Trunda is a freaking beast, and she's got an A1 which can stun. You don't really build her with accuracy if you want her to be beast mode, so you don't get the stun. But people forget, actually, her kit is super good even if she didn't have the damage. If you went accuracy on her for PvE, she's got stunnage, she's got AoE HP burns. You know, she's freaking awesome anyway, but you take the accuracy out and she's just a double hitter. She attacks one enemy, and then a secondary part of her damage spreads to everyone else, and her multipliers crack in twice, and she does obscene damage to anyone. If she hits someone with low defense, high HP for the first hit, everybody else is taking a nap. And then the A3 is the double hitter, big slam, loads of damage, absolute carnage, providing she doesn't place this stun. She's got a passive as well. No one really talks about it because it's not really that relevant to what she's doing, but she gets a bit more resistance going on here. She gets a bit more speed if there's burns out. And she's got increased attack just for magic-based champions, so you don't really use that for all battles. But great, great legendary champion. Absolutely obscene. And then the last one, we're not even finished. The last one in the mix. Someone I would love to have, actually, on the main. Leorius. Another meta champion. What a great champion this is. So double hitter, can put drop defense out there on his A1. He's got a double slammer A2, 3-turn cooldown, massive hit on this one. He's also got this passive that he's just immune to all of the stuff that can stop him, which is awesome. So you think, oh, don't worry, I'll just control him. No, you won't. He's coming at you no matter what you try. He's coming. I was actually up against him, place this in your car, and I was like, I'll just freeze this dude. He's like that. You ain't freezing me, buddy. You're going to take a slam. So yeah, Rage of the Pride, great ability. His A3 is another AoE smack. 100% chance to put True Fear out there as well. Plus he's got Weaken, which goes on before he smacks. Super cool. You can actually run him as a high damage dealer clan boss champion because he's got drop defense and Weaken and a shed ton of damage. But most people will play him in the arena. One of the cool things about him for the arena is this passive here. Basically, it's like a Skull Crown passive. Just before he's about to die, Unkillable pops up and he's like that. I'm going to have at least one turn to take you down. And by the way, my damage will increase by 1% for every 1% of the HP I lose. So if my Unkillable is proccing, it means I'm about to die. It means I've lost all my health. Therefore, basically, I'm coming at you with double damage. Leorius is nutty as well. So, damn. This 10 times is absolutely obscene. And as I say, it should be falling in line with the new Fusion dude, where people are going to be pulling shards anyway. So, good luck if you are. If you're not, have yourself a chilled weekend. I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.